Hey everyone, my name's Lissa and welcome back to Curated. So it's been a while. I have no idea if that's how I even started my last video when I had a 2-month break, but it has been 2 months since our last check-in. We're gonna be covering May, June, and everything else after that that's coming up for the rest of the year. I've been traveling a lot over the last 2 months. May was my trip to the Philippines, which I might have talked about briefly in my last video. And in June, I popped over to Chicago for a weekend. I've had like shows, I've had meetups, I've had tons of things going on. And even though I have recorded videos over the last 2 months, I haven't gotten a chance to sit down and edit them, hence the just dark silence on my YouTube page. I guess the biggest thing about May was, my trip to the Philippines. I was there for 2 weeks. It was a bit of a hard trip, at least at first. My ex-boyfriend was actually supposed to go with us on this trip. We'd been planning it for maybe a year to a year and a half with my family. So the first maybe like 2-3 days, I was a little upset. I was enjoying myself, but there's a part of me that would keep going through my days and saying like, oh, well, if he were here, maybe this would have happened. Maybe we would have done this and this would have been really fun. He would have loved that. And then we went to the beach for a week and I kind of forgot all about it, and I was able to really relax, to take stock of everything that I have to be grateful for, because when you're just sitting and doing nothing, you've got a lot of time in your brain. I was able to connect with a lot of my dad's side of the family who's still there, so my first cousins and then extended family. When we first got there, we spent a couple days in Manila, and then we had a whole week just sitting on an island, vegging out, not doing anything. I was just right on the beach, and I would wake up, we would go eat, we would go to the beach, we would go eat, we would go to the beach, we would go eat, take a nap. We were there for, I think, the perfect amount of time. Like a week, I think, is enough to just sit and do nothing. So that was wonderful. And then we came back to Manila, and then I had another couple days with my family. These are cousins that I only get to see really when I'm in the Philippines. So it's always really nice to go over there to see them. It's even better, with the advent of technology and social media, that we get to have relations online and still keep in touch, even though we're on the opposite side of the world and in the opposite time zone. That was my big trip of May. So after coming back from the trip, I had about 3 weeks of work, and then I went to Chicago for a baptism for my mom's side of the family. Again, I have a very tight-knit family on both sides, on my paternal and my maternal side. My maternal side is the one that we typically see every year. I've been able to grow up with this side of my family, and now everyone's having kids. Things that have been preoccupying me and my mind over the last 2 months. I did 2 things. I did a 21-day workout challenge. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you saw that. And it proved to me that I can have the lifestyle that I want in terms of socializing, in terms of my career, without having to put all these self-care things to the side. I can find time for both. I'm glad I did it, and I will hopefully edit those videos so you guys can actually see what the process is like. I'm going to edit them. Yes. The other thing that I've been doing, which I'm sure I talked about in my last video, is going to this one meetup every single Saturday. If I talked about this probably at the end of April, it probably would have been like, hey, I've been going to this thing, I've been meeting some people. Here we are 2 months later, and I am with these people all the time. It's been such an amazing group of people to be a part of. These are people who are intelligent, well-spoken, interested in the world, how it works, emotionally developed. I mean, most of them are emotionally developed. I've been able to learn more about myself. Formal and informal assessments such as like Myers-Briggs, Enneagrams, Big 5 test, and then I'm like, here's some astrology, and that's my contribution. If you're familiar with the concept of love languages or the 5 love languages, my primary one is quality time, and more specifically, quality conversation. They've taken my standard for quality conversation from where it was just like straight through the roof. And having people like that in my life who I see every week, who challenge me, I've just been so grateful at the kind of development that I've been able to achieve with them. I've been learning more about how people work, different ways of identifying and bucketing people, and in doing so, understanding myself. I knew I was an ENFP, and now I'm kind of thinking I might be an ENFJ if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs. And the reason why I've come to this conclusion is through my cognitive function stack. We're just gonna get into the jargon. It's 3:20, I got this. We can get into the jargon right now and I'll sound coherent, hopefully. The basic premise is that everyone has 4 different cognitive functions: thinking and feeling, which are used to make decisions, and sensing and intuition, which are used to gather information. Everyone has these in some order, some capacity. So to actually make this tangible, the cognitive function that I lead with is extroverted feeling. So I'm very much preoccupied and in touch with the feelings and values of the people around me. One of the best things about learning things like this about yourself and about others is finding different ways to help each other. So I have other friends who are better at sensing, better at intuition, better at thinking, because thinking is my worst one because I put all of my efforts into developing my feeling. Having these labels, whether or not you put scientific importance on them, I think is valuable. Thinking like, hey, maybe this person can help me with something, maybe this person can add a value to my life, or I can add a value to theirs, and we can create a symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationship. Oh yeah, and the thing that I'm actually doing these meetup groups, I've started to get involved with moderating discussions for them. A strength that I feel I have, especially when it comes to moderating discussions, is even though I may not know the nuances of the topic that we're discussing, I can walk into a conversation, I can walk into a discussion, and using the extroverted feeling, mediating, and I've really been enjoying that. I love learning about people and talking to them and hearing their stories. This has become such a fruitful venture for me, and this is not where I thought I would be, because I found out about this group from someone who just happened to answer the right text at the right time and say, hey, do you want to come to this? I'm just so grateful. I can't put it into words at how much this experience has meant to me. So now I'm getting emotional. Some of the other things that I did this month, I saw Tom Misch, I saw Jesse Ware, I saw Jonathan Van Ness, who was wonderful. I saw David Keenan for the 3rd time this year, and then I met him, and oh my god, it was so awkward. Not purposefully awkward, but I don't know, I was there with my god sister. First of all, we forgot to say our names, why did we do that? We forgot to say our names, and then he was kind of looking at me as we were talking to him, trying to place me, and we've been following each other on Instagram for the last few months, but all of a sudden he just blurts out, he's like, do you play the drums? And I was like, no, I don't. And then we started talking again, and then he interrupted and said, but you sing though. And he has a strong Irish accent, and I wasn't right in the head, I guess, because I just replied, I'm single. And the conversation just from there. And then at that point, my god sister just kind of started to float away. I was just like, okay, bye. And he was like, well, it was nice meeting you in person. And I was like, oh my god, why am I like this? I respect him very greatly as an artist, and I think he's great. And I'm so sad that And then the other thing I did, I managed to drag all of my meetup friends, or some of them. Some of the ones who are apparently high in openness, I was able to drag them out to a silent disco. If you're unfamiliar with silent discos or quiet clubbing, it's when you get headphones and there's usually a couple of DJs and you're jamming out, you've got these headphones, and then as soon as you take them off, you can have a quiet conversation. And to be honest, it just kind of looks a little funny because you see all these people kind of grooving out and you have no context as to what they're listening to. So it was a lot of fun, and the friends that I brought really enjoyed it. Hopefully I can coerce some of the rest of them into coming as well. Obviously, now that we've talked about the last 2 months, let's dive into what's coming up. I have the pageant, which is in November 16th. It's been going all right, going to the gym. I was going consistently, and then after I came back from Chicago, I was feeling a little, not sick, but under the weather. So I just started going back to the gym this past Saturday. So I had about a week and a half off. We also moved out of the office building that gives us free breakfast and free lunch. So I'm gonna be going back to meal prepping on my own and being accountable for my own macros. All of them, all 100% of my own macros. That has always been one of my biggest challenges, is working on my eating habits and my desires when it comes to food. But hopefully I'll be able to put in the work, put in the effort, dedication, determination to get all that done. I am also moderating these discussions that are coming up. I'm starting to do that on Saturdays, and 2 Wednesdays from now, the 18th, I'll be moderating a discussion on dreaming. And then on the 28th, I will be presenting for my regular Saturday meetup. user experience tactics that we can apply to group discussions. So I'll be talking to them about things that I've learned when conducting interviews with people for user research. And it's a lot of understanding body language and creating the right environment, partially the questions that you ask, and then how you respond to those questions and how you actually drive discussion. So I'm super excited about that. I was supposed to present on the 7th, so I have an extra month to prepare. So I'm hoping that it's going to go off without a hitch and that people are going to be open to it. Oh, wait, September, I'm trying to go to the UK. So there's a Stoicism conference in London at the end of September. Thinking about fitting in one other city and country or taking, little day trips around England. So if you have any suggestions for cities to go to, please let me know. I've gotten strong recommendations for Paris, Berlin, and Stockholm. So if you have any others, let me know. Oh, and then upcoming shows. I've had tickets to Bruno Mars for the longest time. I got tickets to Joe Coy and Trevor Noah. Joe Coy, if you're unfamiliar, is a Filipino comic, half Filipino, half American comic, who mostly does jokes related to being Filipino. And Trevor Noah, if you don't know, is the host of The Daily Show, a South African comic, and my celebrity crush. I should not make that face when I start talking about people, like in general. That should be a rule of thumb for me. So the funny thing about, oh my gosh. Okay, both of those things were kind of a disaster, getting tickets to Trevor Noah and Joe Coy. I let my parents know. I've been telling them for a while, like, hey, Joe Coy's gonna be in town, do you wanna see him? And they're like, yeah, like, we'll get tickets. And then eventually I heard that they were selling out, so I just bought myself a ticket and I sent it to my parents. I said, hey, I just got tickets for Joe Coy. My dad responds, did you get some for yourself or for the whole family? And I was like, no, I got it for me, just me, like one single ticket. And he was like, get one for me and your mother too. If you're unfamiliar with Joe Coy, he's got plenty of bathroom humor. So I'm gonna get to sit and listen to that with my parents. And Trevor Noah, he's doing 2 back-to-back shows, one at 7:30 and one at 9 o'clock. I now have one ticket to each of them because I got the ticket for the 7:30, but I was like, wait, maybe the crowd will be better and I can get a better seat at the later show. So I got a ticket to that one, and then now I have 2. And I'm like, well, I can either give the earlier ticket away or I could be the person that's just sitting in the theater while they clean it out between shows. In any case, I'm looking forward to it. So that is what I have to look forward to for the rest of the year, at least that I know of. I'm genuinely excited. And I really need to find a thesaurus and another word for excited. But there's been so much that I've been able to accomplish and so much that I've been able to see myself do. Not every day is easy. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that there was a day, maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, where I just, completely broke down. I was crying when I left work. I was crying trying to get a bagel before going to my therapist's office. There are hard days. And there are days where it feels like, this isn't going anywhere, that I'm unsatisfied with what I'm doing in terms of my personal life, in terms of my romantic life, which is just non-existent. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's very obvious, when you feel that you have something missing or incorrect or not right in your life. But when I sit down to do reflections like this and I really think about like, hey, what did I do the last 2 months, and like watching, the May reflection video that actually never got posted. I don't know, I'm speechless. I really am speechless. I like doing these reflections because they give me a chance to sit and be grateful and really take stock of the life that I've been creating. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey and for this video, however long it turns out to be. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, let me know. If you have anything that you'd recommend me doing or trying, let me know. I will hopefully put up a video on the 3-week workout challenge soon. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.